So I've been obsessed with this YouTube series for a few years now, and I know that I'm not alone.
Welcome to a new video series called Monster Factory.
It's a Let's Play series where Justin and Griffin McElroy try to break video game character creators.
Oh no, Barth! Oh. Barth Thompson, no!
It's a great vehicle for riffing.
It's a human ransom note!
Can you see the other face in this face? It's like, no, I just have the one face, actually. This looks racist for a race that does not exist.
I've gotten friends into it, and we have in-jokes, and we say things like mustaches, which she collects for her dark needs, and backpack for his applesauce, and our favorite one, how many meat can we make him?
How many meat can we make him? God, it's like the end of Akira. Todd, why would you do this?
And sometimes I'll show it to people and I get blank stares and puzzled responses and questions about why my tastes are the way they are, like I do every time I try to share something that I love. But anyway, there's a brilliance in its silliness. Like everything made by the brothers McElroy, it's a heap of absurdist humor distilled through a comforting backdrop of fraternal bonding.
And you look like a normal, cool dude. And I look like the waste bin of an anime studio that's been upturned and pissed on.
It's essentially a Let's Play series, a popular YouTube genre that I never got into. But Monster Factory isn't just a Let's Play series, it has crossover appeal. I've seen it discussed in cinematic circles. Mike Newman wrote about it, so did Film Crit Hulk, and now me. And why not? There are so many cinematic discussions to be had. Genre theory.
With a single slider, we've taken her from, like, possible protagonist to third-tier fetch quest NPC.
Critical race theory.
What could be less intuitive?
All right, let's just turn the ethnicity all the way up. He is all ethnicities all at once.
Feminist theory.
What does non-built look like? In there. Okay,
Well,
guys. All right.
All right, gang.
Okay.
All
I
right,
see what
gang.
you're doing here.
Marxist theory.
Totino's. I love their products.
I love Totino's. Totino's. They make Totino's pizza rolls. You know, Totino's pizza rolls. What's even in there? I love it.
And of course, auteur theory.
Is this what Todd wanted? Right? I mean, because it's so.
Can you not see the credits? The credits are rolling on the screen right now. It says produced and fully intended by Todd Howard.
But I want to talk about its aesthetics. It's a series based on visual gags that only a computer-generated image can produce.
What even in the world do you think you're doing? Fallout?
Well, it's an issue with how Fallout 3's graphic engine handles animation because it uses different parameters to define its preset animations than its procedurally generated ones. So a predefined animation like a walk cycle seems to define a skeletal rig as relative to the object as a whole, while the ragdoll physics that happen in the death animation defines individual bones in the rig relative to each other. So if you adjust the scale properties of an object, the mesh will properly scale with the skeleton during predefined animations, but in procedural animations, the mesh will be distorted since the scale adjustment will only be applied. Anyway, it's a bug. It's an entertaining bug, but it's still a bug. A bug familiar to anyone who's ever played a Bethesda game.
Speaking of bug reports.
So, why is this so entertaining? Well, let's pivot from games to film. The earliest days of film. At the turn of the 20th century, films were predominantly shot indoors, shooting staged scenes with actors. It was theatrical. Cinematic pioneer and prolific racist D.W. Griffith once declared that movies needed more of this. The wind in the grass. He wanted to take film outside, to explore the natural world, rather than the theatrical one, jump-starting cinema's longing with capturing that magical five-letter word, truth. Director after director in country after country, striving to capture something true, something natural, something you can't plan. Film critic Andre Bazin once wrote that cinema was a document of God. Who put that in there? Anyway, Griffith was saying that film needed more of this. Wait for it. Accident. All great movie moments are beautiful little accidents. The truest performance, the most graceful of movements. The perfect take itself is a kind of accident.
Because I love a nice cold water. Ice cold water.
But there's another form of truth. The truth of the medium. Like an actor on stage pointing out the proscenium arch, Another great filmmaking tradition emerged devoting to showing you the film stock, the imperfect take, the truth of the medium. Not the wind in the grass, but the dirt on the lens. Also a form of truth. And now we have a new frontier, a new medium, a new truth. The computer. But even in CGI, the new frontier seems to be adding photographic detail, the traces of natural accident, dust, scratches, the chaos that requires a lot of memory to calculate. All that computing power to trick you into thinking this image was photographed and not rendered. It's why, 30 years ago, it was easier to render material without a lot of fine detail, like this character, made of liquid metal. It would take adding layers of grime and rust and subtle textures onto the model before we could render a character made of solid metal. And as long as we're talking about adding natural elements to a computer, look at Andy Serkis's entire career. Motion capture brings the talents of human actors into a digital space. Again, the natural world rendered. And of course, video games have been following film's lead, to varied effect.
Whatever hole he's got Adrian stashed in, he's got to go back there sometime.
But even outside of motion capture, look at how many titles add motion blur, film grain, chromatic aberration, all features of the photographed image, not the rendered one. But it's still just a simulation of wind in the grass. A render of a different truth. So, what's the truth of the computer-generated image? What's the wind in the grass?
I've just made a realization.
What's that?
You can turn the grass off.
Good.
The grass is all gone.
Wait, I just googled the quote. Griffith actually said the wind in the trees, not grass. God damn it, Griffith, you dead racist asshole! I had the perfect segue and you ruined it!
Oh no!
Watching the McElroy clan play games is like watching a live documentary of the workings of a graphical world. A wildlife program, where the wildlife is digital.
My world is pain.
Exploring how a program works by breaking it. By finding its boundaries, overloading its functions, and figuring out just how many meat we can make him.
Gristle!
Jean-Luc Godard famously said that every film is a documentary of its actors. So, is a Let's Play a documentary of a program?
This is bad.
This is bad.
This is bad. I don't think...
I'm noticing some gaps in the tri-juice.
Yes, I just cut from a Godard film to a Fallout 4 clip. Hello, welcome to my channel. Of course, this idea didn't start with the McElroys. Glitch art has similar goals, trying to understand the soul of the machine by finding the cracks in the system. Digital artists have experimented with different physics programs to find a new way of showing the human form. Just look at the renders of Martin Olson. Or the installation art of Ian Cheng, who wrote a procedurally generated program which acted out a strange mythology. In Cheng's piece, Emissaries, he let the program itself create its bizarre story. And of course, games have tried this too. And yes, it has some backlash. I know there are plenty of gamers out there who roll their eyes at procedurally generated environments, but it's still something which is, in a way, discovered, but not planned. Its own accident. Its own wind in the trees. Not that Justin and Griffin ever really get into the nitty-gritty of the programs they break, which is great. The boy mayor of Second Life's re-election campaign wouldn't be any funnier if I knew why he looked different after going to a sex club.
Who is... Move your giant pizza ass! Who is this?
That's the beauty of the graphics glitch. Enough calculations, enough encryptions from binary numbers to visual data, and you have no idea what might get lost in translation.
No! If H.P. Lovecraft saw this right now, he would shit his pants to death.
What the McElroys have done is aestheticize these accidents, highlighting them and reveling in their absurdity, leading to some of the strangest, most compelling discovered narratives I've ever experienced. Chalk it up to Griffin's skills as a dungeon master. So I'm only just now getting into the adventure zone. I'm just starting the 11th hour. It's great so far. No spoilers. Put 100 artists from Pixar in front of a computer, and I doubt they could ever stage a moment as surreally funny as this one.
We're back.
Nobody saw that.
Or this one.
You gotta scale the pizza box down.
Or this one.
Look at the top left corner of your screen right now, please.
For a long time, I've been wondering about the potential of using CGI beyond the goal of photorealism. What the image might look like if we saw the pixels as pixels. And I wonder, is this it? This? This format which somehow got me to care about an immortal pockmarked axe-wielding demigod who broke the world to live with her trash husband, metal husband, roach husband, ghost son, and her 1,000 coffee can sons in the ocean below the world? This?
1, 2, 3.
At the very least, Monster Factory made me realize that the cinematic world is decades behind when it comes to talking about CGI. We can't keep treating the computer like a magic box that just throws out images. When it comes to talking about CGI, the gaming world has us beat. So if we're going to move forwards towards a computer-driven filmmaking process, if computers are going to be generating our images, we might as well see how many meat we can make them.
Oh, game, no.
Not like this.
Game, just let me do the thing. What? Oops. Oh no. Oops. Oh no. Oh no. Whoops. Oops. Oopsie daisy. Oh no.